It's the most wonderful podcast of early December. It's December 5th, Tuesday, 2017, alongside Sith Lord Ian Ferguson.
I have to be comfortable for this podcast.
I'm Pat Country. Welcome to the second time we are in Ian's library/game room here. Very wonderful. I'm here. We're going to be talking about lots of fun gaming news. AIM shutting down Super Mario Serial. We're talking about Mega Man games being announced again, because why not have the first Mega Man game in like 90 years come out? Lots of Q&A this time. And maybe some other funness like the Avengers trailer. Ian, what's been going on in Fergusonville?
Saw a dude's penis at work.
Okay,
So that's
a good lead-in. Well,
Yeah.
Why don't you pretend we didn't know that factoid and let's lay out the story. Let's theater of the mind for everyone.
I mean, unfortunately, it's a pretty quick story, but
should I just title this "Ian Sees a Penis"?
Ian sees a penis.
I think that'll get flagged for advertising on YouTube.
You're right. You can't do that.
I can do that.
So,
Ian sees some genitalia.
yeah, genitals.
What the fuck?
I'm at work, and it's a day. It's the holidays and things are happening, and a guy walks in, and he's trashed. I mean, he's very, very drunk. His every word is a breath with him, and he's wearing very loose basketball shorts. And he comes up, and he goes, "Is that a PS4 Pro that you have in the case?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And he's like, "Cool, can you tell me about it?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I get up, and I walk to the end of the counter because it's the closest in the case. So I'm pointing to it, and I'm talking to him about it. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he's like really like acting like he's taking this all in, but I can see it bouncing off. And we walk back, and I sit down, and he's talking to me more about it. And he goes, he's like, "So you really need like a 4K TV to experience the benefits of like a PS4 Pro or like an Xbox One X." And I'm like, "Yeah." And the whole time he just continuously keeps pulling these shorts up. And I'm like, "This is gonna be a problem."
No drawstring on these?
I mean, there was. He just wasn't utilizing it.
Okay.
And I wasn't. The problem was I was just noticing, like, every time they kind of sunk a little bit lower and he was pulling them up, like, I didn't...
You knew it wasn't going to hold.
It was fleshy, and I knew it wasn't going to hold. And, eventually, I mean, they just fell.
They fell. So it was it like a tree getting toppled where they just came down, or was it like slowly like, oh my God, I could stop it, but it's in slow motion and you couldn't do anything?
It was, it was like slow-mo for me. But I'm pretty sure
like
it
a
happened.
Bugs Bunny thing where they pull up their skin.
Yeah, and exactly. And they hit about knee length.
So no drawers.
No drawers.
No boxers.
He was straight up commando. And
what team was that? Was there a team logo on these shorts? Or?
No, they were just basketball style shorts. That mesh style. And
oh man,
there he was, just hanging dong right there.
So what was his reaction?
Very nonchalantly look down, grab his shorts, pull them up, and go, "Oh man, I didn't want that to happen." And then we continued on. And the thing was, is
this backwards compatible? This PS4 Pro? How did he continue on from that reveal?
He didn't leave. He stayed for like another 5 minutes, and I was just like, "Answering your questions. I'm answering your questions. Just gonna answer your questions." Like,
was he a potential buyer? Do you think was he actually interested? Was it the weight of all the cash in his wallet bringing down those shorts?
I just don't know. I mean, it was one of those situations where what do you do when a man shits? You've just seen his penis in the middle of the store, but you don't think it wasn't a purposeful exposure.
You don't think it was a romantic ploy?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think it was like, let's see if this works out?
I just think he was drunk and used to having his penis shown off in public.
And that was that. He walks out, holding up his
after another like 5 minutes of questions, he just walks out and leaves.
Interesting.
And I'm the one who has to pay for it.
you have the PTSD to show for it. How many times a year do you see some nudity at the store? Female or male, I'll just say.
I've seen some nip, and I've
seen some nip.
I've seen
sneak out.
I've seen some nip, and I've I've seen, some chestnuts, and
Chestnuts?
yeah,
Some balls hanging to the side, maybe?
yeah, a little things.
Sure.
Things are a little sheer, but I've never seen the full fucking cod and cabbages. I mean, that's
The full twig and berries.
the full twig and berries. Yeah, that's a bit much.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Well, that's the dangers of working in retail, I guess.
right.
It's a long slog.
Yeah,
Working in retail. I only worked in retail for maybe a year, and that was enough for me.
that was your Suncoast days.
Back the good old Suncoast. Do you count the food store being retail? Is that's kind of retail food?
Yeah.
But I think that's technically a different genre. That's like action platformer versus being straight platformer. I think it's like it's a little different.
There's enough of a
difference. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
There's different occupational hazards like cleaning off like melons and stuff at the supermarket and going out and in the hot sun and doing the carts and doing stuff like that.
Really depends on if you're a cashier or not.
Yeah, well, when you were a guy, at least working 20 years ago, you did everything.
Yeah.
It's different now. Now you're not allowed to handle stock if you're a cashier. Back then, you were a guy. You did dairy. You were strong enough to lift out all the fucking watermelons and clean them off and cabbages. You pulled out
Back to cabbages.
You pulled out the all the pallets of food every night. I did that too.
Oh,
And all for a good old $5.05 an hour.
Yes.
I don't want to hear any bitching about the minimum wage now.
yes, $5.05 an hour.
Good old $5.05.
Cigarettes for $1.79 a pack.
Back in my day when gasoline was $1.25 a gallon. But all right, what's been going on? Since you're concerned about my well-being, I haven't seen any random genitalia. Have not.
Good.
But I was really sick last week for 5 days of good old food poisoning.
Bad.
I got some Greek food, and I had ordered it like 12 times before, so it was one of those things where they're like, oh, now I feel bad. Now do I not order again because I struck out once? But it put me on my ass. I was going to finish up the NES Punk video because I was going to start editing it, and so I was out. So now I'm starting to edit it now. So now that's a week behind, and I'm a week behind moving, unfortunately. So that's why we're here again, and will be. But the good news is that I'm like 90%. What was with that? What was with the eyebrow raise? What?
Just there.
Just to throw me off?
Yeah, exactly.
Is
It's
that
just to see if I can knock you off your rope.
is that a prefix to dropping your shorts? What was that?
Yes.
Give me the Ian's eyebrow. But I do have some ideas. I've explained them to you about a new podcasting sort of studio in the new place. I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be nice. I think it'll be a nice kick in the butt. And we can also potentially stream some topics without waiting 2 full weeks. Because as much as people love to hear us with our 2-week-old takes on stuff, a lot of times you want to be out there with the news first, as long as you're still informed. Because I see a lot of hot takes usually that end up being totally fucking false.
I really don't like hot takes.
You like lukewarm takes?
I like my takes.
Lukewarm?
A little.
Well, let's not make sure they're not totally cold, but
Between lukewarm and hot,
medium,
I want to-
medium Luke.
I would like to enjoy my take.
Want to enjoy your take?
Yeah, I don't want to burn my mouth on the take, but I don't want it to be unsatisfactory.
Okay, well, that's what you're looking at in 2018. So, but the NES Punk video is going to come out. Oh, I'm going to be at SoCal Retro Gaming Expo January 20th and 21st. If you want to save 10% on tickets, use code NES Podcast. I didn't make up the code, but the code is NES Podcast. And you can go to SoCalRetroGamingExpo.com for tickets and information. I'm going to be there. Norm, the gaming historian. James Rolfe is going to be there. Super Best Friends Play is going to be there, amongst other guests coming back, like Billy and Jay Game Chasers, and more to be announced. VideoGameYears.com if you want to watch the Video Game Years on Amazon Prime, and a good old CERN NES guidebook available for the holiday seasons at UltimateNES.com.